Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm a sentient potato.
This is the news.
So, story number one. It looks like the WrestleMania 35 card is coming together a little bit. Of course, we'll have some big changes potentially this weekend at Fastlane. Becky Lynch beats Charlotte Flair. She's going to be inserted into what should be the main event with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. However, good old Shagger Dave's been back at it again on Wrestling Observer Radio. And he has two new matches that he speculates will be added to the card. So the first is already being set up on SmackDown via backstage interviews. That is AJ Styles, our friend, versus Randy Orton. And the second is new United States champion Samoa Joe against John Cena.
I like this. I think both of these matches are not that surprising.
No.
You can tell with the Orton AJ stuff where they're heading. Basically, AJ is going to get his ear fingered at WrestleMania. But the other one, we were speculating about what they were going to do with the United States Championship. Maybe they were going to have some sort of fatal four-way involving sort of Rey and Andrade and R-Truth, who's merited it with his performances recently. But the United States Championship, a returning John Cena, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it really does, particularly if you do some kind of thing related to the open challenges. You know, R-Truth was doing all these little tributes to John Cena, his apparent childhood hero. So this is kind of like a nice little twist on that, really, isn't it? Because we had been led to believe that maybe they were going to do Truth versus Cena, but no, we're going to get Joe versus Cena, which is probably a better match.
Yeah, and if you're stuck for something to do, if you're stuck for an opponent for WrestleMania for Samoa Joe, what better than, and with no build, what better than with John Cena?
Yeah, exactly. And Styles versus Orton, I know Orton still kind of tires a lot of people, but I think he's been great since he's been a heel, and AJ is obviously one of the best wrestlers in the world.
One of the top 5 best RKOs at the Elimination Chamber.
Ooh, I'd have to
Really
think
like
about that. Let's make a list.
Yeah, they've definitely done it before, but we can do it again. We can update it. Second news story of today concerns JR. JR is leaving the WWE. Yes, apparently he was
still there?
Still a part of it. And this is according to JR on his own podcast. Yes, he's announced he's going to be leaving the WWE at the end of March. He's been with them since I think about 1993.
1993, he's been in and out of the company a lot.
We last saw him on the pre-show panel for the Greatest Royal Rumble in April. But yeah, he said recently, I've got a quote for you here, he said recently that he will not be returning to WWE after the 29th of March. Look, he's given an amazing amount to this industry. He's a true legend, but it's nice to have him signing off, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the speculation surrounding his return in 2017 was that WWE just didn't want World of Sport to have him. And that kind of reflects in the way that he's been used. You know, he did that WrestleMania. I think he did one more show. He did last year's WrestleMania with the Battle Royal, and then he did the Greatest Royal Rumble pre-show panel. He's barely been used at all. And he hasn't been seen on TV in like 11 months or whatever, crazy. Now, it's interesting here is that he is leaving the company, for sure, he's confirmed it. But he's been linked with AEW a lot. Even before AEW was a thing, he was linked with a potential promotion involving Bullet Club and Chris Jericho. Now, you've got to wonder if perhaps when he talks about wanting to continue his journey in wrestling, but not with WWE, maybe he's thinking about jumping ship and leading that promotion's announce team, which is a complicated issue. Ross is a legend. He is an iconic wrestling voice. He's not the announcer he used to be, so...
Yeah, I agree. I think you can, with rose-tinted glasses, you can go, oh, great, imagine that, the old JR from the 90s calling AEW.
Yeah.
But if you listen to some more of his recent stuff, I believe there's better names out there.
I think there is, although, you know, he's a name and people are attracted to that. So let's just see how it pans down. Of course, that is all speculation.
Best of luck with your future endeavours.
Absolutely. Hope he gets that little update on the website. Now, next one's a big story. Did you hear? Some Japanese wrestlers retired or something.
Who?
I don't know.
No one knows.
Some lads. Next story. I'm kidding. Jushin Thunder Liger, legendary junior heavyweight wrestler, has announced that he is hanging up the big anime mask and he will step away from the squared circle forever after New Japan's 2 Tokyo Dome shows next January. So we obviously have a lot of Liger left, and he plans on wrestling all around the world until he finally gives it up. So he announced this at a press conference earlier today. He, of course, wrestled Taiji Ishimori for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on New Japan's 47th anniversary show yesterday. Incredible match. If you ever want to see a 54-year-old man wrestle better than people half his age, that's the match to watch. So Liger, I think he's a guy everyone knows, right? Even if you're not a big fan of Japanese wrestling, you know Jushin Liger. He's an icon. He's been in the sport since 1984. He is an 11-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. He has had great classic matches with everyone from Shinjiro Otani to the Great Sasuke to Chris Benoit as Wild Pegasus. The guy's legacy cannot be underestimated, and the fact that he's still able to go so hard as he did the other night against Ishimori is borderline miraculous. He is older than The Undertaker, and yet The Undertaker walks around like a man twice his age.
And more importantly than all that, there is a great match you need to go and check out if you haven't seen it already with him in PWG, where basically, and this is a staple of the news as you know from now, half the entire WWE roster nowadays have their thumb up his bum. It's well worth checking out. Literally read out the list of names. There is a, you know the Joey Ryan dick thing that he does?
Yeah.
And then there's like a train of people sometimes that he has. That, but with their thumb up Jushin Thunder Liger's bum.
All of these people had their thumb in the bum. Cedric Alexander.
Same match this, by the way.
Same match. Cedric Alexander, former Cruiserweight champion. Chuck Taylor, signed to Ring of Honor, one of the best comedy wrestlers ever. Jeff Cobb, currently signed to Ring of Honor. Liger, of course, the man himself. Tommy End, who you know as Aleister Black, former NXT champion. Brian Kendrick, a big-time WWE Cruiserweight. Matt Riddle, the future of NXT. Pete Dunne, the WWE UK champion. Sami Callihan, we don't talk about Sami Callihan, and Tommaso Ciampa.
It's
what
well
a list
worth.
of men, all with their thumb.
Go and check it out. It is hilarious. And speaking of Tommy Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa there, we have an update on him to tell you about. He is apparently going into surgery today. I've got an official term here. Following a medical evaluation today, Ciampa has been scheduled for an anterior cervical fusion later on today. There's apparently already a storyline plotted for his return. Look, this is absolutely devastating.
It's agonizing.
If you're a fan of NXT,
Yep.
of course. He's the current NXT champion. They built for... I've lost track of how long this match between Gargano and Ciampa, the big blow off at the WrestleMania NXT weekend show. That's not going to happen. He's going in for neck surgery. So such a shame. But hopefully he can recover from this because this is a big. This isn't surgery and then don't worry, he'll be back soon. This is major surgery.
This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. They have literally been building this match between him and Gargano since the first Cruiserweight Classic when they had that match and they looked really upset that they were having to batter each other and so forth. It's horrendous. This is the exact same injury that, I don't want to alarm people, but you've got to be realistic here, right? This is the same surgery that guys like Edge, Steve Austin, Lita all had, and none of them were the same wrestler afterwards. Tommaso Ciampa will probably return. He will probably be back. Everyone will be happy. He'll be a great entertainer, but he's probably not going to be the same wrestler as he was before, and that really sucks. But the man has to look after his health, and that's the priority.
Absolutely, that is exactly the most important thing. Some people may sit there and say, well, maybe you should have just soldiered through and they have the NXT match in April.
Not
but
next.
It's not worth it. You've got to see the bigger picture here. And in theory, they can still do this blow-off match. It'll just probably happen on WWE's roster.
It'll happen on 205 Live, maybe.
Yeah, it'll happen there.
That's very serious, this.
Vince, don't screw this up. Okay, I've let a lot of things slide before. You mess this up, you and I, we can have
an
exchange of angry tweets.
He's sitting next to literally the hardest man alive, Vince. So, up you.
Let's move on to today's Twitter questions. You can tweet them at us, as always, at WhatCultureWWE. And our first question today comes from Mark Gallagher, but this time he's thrown away the ukulele.
Oh my!
He has broken out the piano. Let's see what he's got
He's
to
a
say.
multi-instrumentalist. I like it.
We'll see so long to the Ciampa man. His title is taken too soon. We got a pay-per-view in April. Who will be the champion anew?
So, of course, there we mentioned Tommy Ciampa is no longer going to be NXT champion. We've got the big pay-per-view in April. Who's going to be NXT champion?
Adam Cole, and I'm not going to do the thing. Baby, yeah, him. It's Adam Cole. The guy's a bloody star. Like he's one of the most over guys in NXT. He is one of the best, maybe not one of the best wrestlers in WWE, but absolutely one of the best workers. He's a guy who comes out and is cheered. They blow the roof off because they love Adam Cole, and within 2 minutes of that match, they're booing their heart out. That's how good this guy is. He's a star. He's a little guy, but it's NXT, so it doesn't matter. He's going to be the guy.
I quite like that. Look, I think you've got to look around and think about call-ups. They've sort of also staggered this, so perhaps you may not see that many call-ups.
You're going to say Oney Lorcan, aren't you? aren't you?
I'm not going to say Oney Lorcan, for God's sake. I'm going to say Bukes Cruz, but if not him, then yeah, Adam Cole would make a lot of sense. I think as much as I'd love to see the Undisputed Era on the main roster, I think they've called up enough people that their roster is absolutely stacked.
Give them every title.
Yeah, Ricochet and Aleister Black are effectively on the main roster now. I don't know what's going to happen with Johnny Gargano now, though.
Tricky situation, isn't it? He's kind of cut adrift now because he can't do any DIY stuff.
So
he probably can't win the belt now that he's up on the main roster. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
man.
whether you bring him back and he wins I don't know.
Maybe you call him back down, but wouldn't that be seen as some kind of demotion in casual fans' eyes? It's a tough situation.
WWE will think
They've got loads of options for him.
Yeah, WWE will think he wrestled, 2 weeks ago on Raw?
Yeah.
So,
Outside pick, how about Matt Riddle? Hot-shotted.
Oof. I like that a lot, actually, as well. There's some great names. Let us know who you think should be the next NXT champion in the comment section below. Let's move on to the second question, which comes from Adarsh Singh, who says, will WWE's brand split end when SmackDown Live moves to Fox because they're paying WWE truckloads of money? That is official. They are delivering it in trucks. So they'd have an entire roster, or at least bigger stars appearing on SmackDown.
Very good point. One I hadn't even considered. I think that may very well be what happens because very minimum, SmackDown's going to be the A show. It just is. It's going to have the bigger audience. It's going to be the one they get most of their money from. It's going to be the A show. There's going to be a power shift. They either need to send all their big stars over there or they need to just cancel the brand split. Now, I think that cancelling the brand split is probably a bit more likely, to be honest, because Vince McMahon's a very proud man. He's not going to want to completely deprive Raw of assets. It's his flagship show, after all. However, I would prefer for it to stick around and therefore to just there be like a rearranging in the Superstar shake.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, but we know that there's going to be a Superstar shake-up the week after the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. And yeah, when there was no brand split, I wouldn't watch SmackDown.
No.
I know it's different now because they're going to plow a lot of stars into that because obviously it's on Fox and they've got big things to do on there. But I like the brand split. I like keeping them separate. I like the separate belts, and I think it would make a lot more sense. And also, as much as we're sat there saying all the bigger stars will have to go to SmackDown, they aren't struggling for stars, are they? They just need to
they really aren't.
establish the ones they've already got.
Yeah.
Vince.
Yeah.
Final question today comes from Jonathan Rivera, who says, do you think WWE induct their alumni even into the Hall of Fame too often? It seems like they'll run out of stars in the not too distant future and could benefit from doing a Hall of Fame ceremony every 5 years or so. Well, it certainly seems like every 5 years is the length of time that a Hall of Fame ceremony takes.
Yeah, especially when Hillbilly Jim's on. That's a very good point. I think we had this discussion in the office the other day. Like, they haven't got many headliners left at all, have they? I mean, they've got The Rock, Undertaker, Vince, Triple H. After that, it's kind of barren. So
Corbin.
Big banter. I mean, are you suggesting that Baron Corbin would be put in the Hall of Fame?
He's a ballot, opening ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, banter Hall of Fame. What was the question again?
Should they
5 years.
delay it?
5 years, yes, absolutely. Do one every 5 years. The thing is, they're probably not going to do that because it's a nice big corporate sesh for all the boys. They probably have a great time doing these things. It makes them some money. I can't really see them doing it, but in about a decade, we are going to end up with Gangrel as a headliner, which will pop me and no one else.
Yeah, I think maybe stagger it. Maybe every 2 years or 4 years or something like that.
How about 20?
Might be best, especially because this year's going to be a real test, actually, because they've obviously front-loaded it with D-Generation X and Tori Wilson and blah, blah, blah. But they've got a big show they're going up against as well.
It's going to be a real what, sorry?
I don't know what I said.
Test. There's your headliner.
Yeah, but it's going to be
that was awful.
They've got this super show against New Japan and Ring of Honor they're going up against, and I mean, there's always going to be enough fans for both.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting...
Yeah, I mean, they've already rearranged NXT because tickets for that weren't shifting when it went head-to-head with the Supercard. I can't imagine there's going to be a big clamour for the Hall of Fame. It looks half empty every single year, but we'll see.
Well, let us know your thoughts on that in the comment section as well. Let's move on to today's and finally, and thank you to Nicole Franklin, who sent us yet another image of this one's all right. It's just interesting what WWE decided to do with this. An action figure. Love getting them. Keep sending them. If you want to send them to the office, the link to, the address of our place of work is on our website.
Our address.
Yeah. So there we have. I'll show you here. There you go. AJ Styles, thankfully, but right, AJ Styles in his package in there.
Not bad.
And then we zoom down, and for no apparent reason, he's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. Famous Money in the Bank holder, AJ Styles there.
Wow.
My favourite is if that had come out now, you and I'd be sat here reporting
oh my God,
from a million different sheets It's obvious that AJ Styles is going to win Money in the Bank in May because they've printed a thing, not because they haven't got a bloody clue what they're doing.
You got cash in that suitcase?
Oh, you gonna smoke that?
You can't put a suitcase in the beach.
You can't put the smoke in the bag.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out our new wrestling podcast by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes or Spotify.
Free Deirdre Rashid.
My thanks to Andy Murray. You can follow him on Twitter
At Ken Barlow.
You can follow me at Adam Wilburn. You can follow our lovely editor at It's Adam Nicholas. Thanks to Andy. Thanks to Adam. Thanks to you for watching, and we will see you soon.